things are not looking good for Julen Lopetegui. This has got to be said. Look, I'm going to cut straight to the chase. I won't leave you hanging. It's sourcer Florian Plettenberg. Remember him? We were reporting on him loads and loads and loads during the transfer window. He's basically come out and I think pretty much named Julen Lopetegui's successor. And as such, I think he's just heaped a load of pressure on the Spaniard, which can be very, very hard for him to overcome unless he starts winning and starts winning now. This has come from Tim Steidten. I'm pretty. I'd normally say allegedly and things like that. This is Steidten's guy. Plettenberg was the guy that initially announced the Jean-Claire Todibo interest. Steidten was the guy who doubled down on some news. Do you remember we all thought that Mohamed Kudus had a buyout clause, £85 million, but in July 2025? Plettenberg came out and he said no. It's in June 2024. I think there still might be one in 2025, but he said, no, it's active now. And the club were, at the time, was sort of saying, oh, look over there. That's, just trying to distract everybody from it. But Plettenberg doubled down on it. A lot of people were saying, this is not correct. It's 2025. And he said, no, it's now. It's now. When everyone else was saying you're wrong, he doubled down. He said, I'm right. And he was right. Now, Plettenberg works for Sky Sports Germany. He's a German in the know. He's interviewed Steidten. A lot of the stuff that comes out, and we've said it, we're not just saying it now, we've said it on numerous occasions. If Steidten stuff tends to come out from Fabrizio Romano or Plettenberg. I'll just tell you, I'm going to read his tweet now. I didn't expect to be discussing this today. It says, former Borussia, it's all written in sort of, condensed words, because he's got to do a limited number, hasn't he, for his X post. So I'll try and sort of translate it best I can. So he's basically saying, former Borussia Dortmund coach Edin Terzic is a candidate in case West Ham United decide to replace manager Julen Lopetegui. And he's done a tick at the end of it. Don't know what that means, but maybe he's validating it. Don't know why he's validating something he's just said. But I believe you, because you said it in the first place. It said the 41-year-old has a good reputation at West Ham, where he worked from 2015 to 2017 as assistant coach under Slaven Bilic. The 41-year-old is open to... He's trying to save on characters in his post, and he's written 41-year-old twice. Anyway, I should have left it. I'll let it go. He said he basically is open to a new challenge. He's also received interest from AC Milan, having already been in contact with their advisor, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Okay, so let's just make this really clear. What we have is an in-the-know, an associate, a journalist very close to Tim Steidten leaking news that West Ham would look at Terzic in case of getting rid of Julen Lopetegui. Look, let's not mince our words here. If West Ham and if Steidten was really trying to make sure that Lopetegui wasn't under pressure, this story wouldn't have reached the light of day. It really wouldn't have done. This story would have been a non-starter. The fact that it has... Look, I did a video about Steidten a couple of weeks ago, which did not go down too well at all. But I said at the time I felt that there was a lot of information being leaked. I almost said inflammation then. That's something different. You don't need to know about that. That's my own personal business and nothing to do with you lot. But there was a lot of information coming from Tim Steidten that I thought was being leaked out there. This is bad news for Lopetegui. Sort of secret. I feel bad he was saying it. Sort of secretly exciting, really, doesn't it? What we're going to do later on is we're going to speak to later on today. I'm going to ask Gio about this guy, because we'll do another video later on the main channel, because Gio knows a lot about this dude, an awful lot about him. Now, Gio, he got to the final. Sorry, I haven't even said that. I can't believe Florian Plettenberg. Look. I'll tell you what he did. He wrote Terzic's age twice, but then forgot to mention the Champions League final. So that's really... Look, he's got... For a young manager, he's got decent pedigree. He understands the club. I would imagine there is truth in it. I really, really would. I think what is interesting on this one, though, is that this guy wasn't on the list of managers or head coaches that had apparently been suggested by Tim Steidten when we heard that whole rumour that West Ham had been warned. David Sullivan had been warned not to hire Julen Lopetegui. And at that time, we were provided with a list of people that Tim Steidten would have got before Lopetegui. And it was very much, I felt, an article for him to distance himself, keep Tim Steidten wanted to keep the hiring of Julen Lopetegui at arm's length and did not want to be associated with it. He put it firmly and squarely at the feet of David Sullivan, which I thought was an interesting thing to do. However, it does bring up something a little bit interesting. Before I get to that, can I please point your direction to today's video sponsor, Surfshark. Look, Surfshark, if your stuff is not encrypted, if your data on your mobile phone, not just data on your mobile phone, if your banking transactions on your banking app on your mobile phone are not encrypted and not protected, then quite frankly, people can peek at what you're doing. Ever more frequently, I get dubious emails and dubious text messages which are clearly false, which are clearly fraudulent, of people trying to get access to my mobile phone. But it's not just your mobile phone, of course. They're trying to get in access to your laptop, to your computer, and actually, even your internet service provider can look at what you're doing. They probably don't, but if they wanted to, they can. What a VPN does is it basically gives you a level of protection and it gives you a level of encryption, which means nobody can see what you're doing online. Don't mean you're doing anything particularly dodgy, but you do not want people knowing your bank transactions. You do not want people knowing your passwords and all your details. And this is a really, really good way to protect yourself. Look, Surfshark, we got 4 months free at the moment. Go and check it out, but please use the link below because then you'll get that deal. And it is surfshark.com/Hammers Chat. Link should be underneath on the screen, but you can't click on that bit that's showing on the screen. You have to go into the description. There's a little drop down menu. Hit that, click on it, go and get yourself signed up. Every day that you are without a VPN, you are at risk from being hacked. They still call it hacked. You know what I mean. Right. I'll tell you what's interesting about this. We had a whole list of names, didn't we, that Tim Steidten wanted. Obviously, the most prominent of which was Ruben Amorim. The Brighton coach was in there, whose name escapes me yet again. But I mean, they're doing really, really well. He certainly seemed to Steidten wanted to link himself and associate himself with a load of managers that had done really well. But I don't remember Terzic's name being on there. If it was, then, please forgive me. But... well, yeah, actually, you forgive me, but Steidten forgive me. Everyone forgive me on that. I think the timing of this is crucial. I think this heaps ever more pressure on Lopetegui to get a result against Man United. And I know Man United, I wouldn't say they've had an uptake in form, but they've got a win. And they've had a win. I thought if Man United lost at the weekend, there was every chance that quite possibly Erik ten Hag wouldn't have made it through to the weekend against West Ham, the next fixture against West Ham. And it would have been the most West Ham thing in the world if a new manager had come in for Man United and then they'd have had an uplift. So he stands half a chance, Lopetegui, because Man United are not great. And despite all of the backlash, I do think there were some decent individual performances against Tottenham. I thought there were... well, Kudus isn't going to be available anyway, but I thought up until the point he got sent off, I thought Kudus was excellent. I thought Bowen seemed to be looking sharp and in good form. I thought Wan-Bissaka was really good. Emerson was decent as well. So it's not like the whole team are terrible. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that West Ham can get a result against Manchester United, but the pressure is on. And what I had thought about when I saw this was very much the news had sort of been leaked from the club, which was a way of supporting Lopetegui, which they have to do. I'm a big advocate of, even if you think you might have to get rid of someone, still publicly support him up until the point he goes. I don't think it... What you ultimately want as a football club owner is you want your football team to win games, and I don't think it does any good at all by letting a manager know that he's under pressure or letting him know that he's got 3 games or anything like that. Leave it. And very much the messaging coming out from the club was, look, we're not even going to look at this until the new year. I think that was the right thing to do. I don't believe it, but I think it was the right thing to do. I always thought it'd be very, very difficult, I say always, since the Tottenham game, be very, very difficult for anything overly. Look, we got. What I'm trying to say is we've got an international break coming up in November. We've got 3 more games. Man United, Nottingham Forest, Everton. If they go badly, forget it. Absolutely forget it for Lopetegui. I don't think it gets until January or whatever was suggested when the club were trying to support him. This puts extra pressure on Manchester United. There's now somebody in the wing mirrors, isn't there? There's somebody that's going to have Lopetegui looking over his shoulder. I don't think Lopetegui's done well. I don't think he has tactically given us much to get behind. I said when I did my video yesterday about, what was the geezer's name? I should have it here. I've got it written down here. Rory Jennings. That's it. I said it was hard to disagree with Jennings when he said he didn't feel that Lopetegui had given anyone any sort of hope, had given any indication that he might be on the right track and on the road to improvement. I felt that was very much the case, and I thought it was a fair observation, actually. And so I do believe that. I don't believe that Lopetegui has given us much. However, I do think this makes things worse. I do think this does sort of undermine him. And it's a little bit tough because I don't want to have a crap manager at West Ham. Ideally, Lopetegui would turn things around. He'd be a brilliant manager. But what if he's not capable? What if he's not the guy? I also don't want to be the club that... Remember what Watford were doing for ages? Just sacking manager after manager after manager. I don't want to be that club. I don't want to be doing videos about, sacking managers and stuff like that. I really don't. I want to be doing... But I also want to be doing videos about West Ham winning and the team playing well and trying to get in Europe and all the rest of it. And, bless him, he don't really look too capable at the moment, Lopetegui. So he needs to take it and get it sorted out quickly. If not, I've no doubt that, bearing in mind the players that West Ham have in their squad, we have... Look, collectively, we're not very good. Individually, we have better players than a lot of the teams that are above us. It's about the right manager coming in and getting that team playing, isn't it? Look, it's Terzic, that guy. I just don't know. That's not really what this video is about. We will find out more about Terzic later on when we speak to Gio. But for now, there's one thing that is no doubt in my mind. A close ally of Tim Steidten has leaked the news. I mean, it's crazy. Has leaked the news that basically West Ham are eyeing up a replacement for Julen Lopetegui. There's other dynamics at play here. Does David Sullivan, for instance, know about this leaked story? Is this even the case? Is it true? It could also be true that maybe just David Sullivan is not, but it's just Tim Steidten's eyeing up this guy. Which leads into a very, very different dynamic, which I'm going to discuss at another time. I'll leave that for another. I'll leave that for another time because I do think there's a very, very interesting dynamic at play behind the scenes at West Ham, which probably needs investigating more. Anyway, but there you go. For now, Terzic, am I saying his name right? Edin Terzic. His name's been thrown into the ring.